Hello art friends, Melisa here. Today I'm creating in my 5.5 by 5.5 Arteza art journal using products by Darkroom Door. You can find links to all the supplies in the description box below the video. Just click the show more button to expand it. The page has already been covered with gesso. It's important to use the gesso on this page because it allows me to remove the paint with the baby wipey. I started by brushing on Teal and Brilliant Yellow-Green Acrylic Paint by Loft. It's the professional level 3 and you can get it at Michael's. I used the circle stencil by Darkroom Door to remove some of the paint using a baby wipe. This particular pattern comes in different sizes and this one is the small. You have to work pretty quick doing this technique because you need to remove the paint before it dries. Now I'm using the Creativity stencil by Darkroom Doors to add more of the same paint colors. This stencil also comes in different sizes and this is the medium. The blue lost some of its vibrancy as it mixed with the green. Later I end up touching up those areas by adding some more of that blue paint around the circles. If you like this page and would like it in the form of a 6x6 canvas to display in your studio, just let me know. I'm hoping to open an Etsy shop in the future to sell some of my projects. I'm using the Paint Tube stamp set by Darkroom Doors as my focal point. I moistened the images with a little water in a brush, watered down some acrylic paint, and then brushed it on like watercolor. I used a really old butterfly stamp to create the wings for my stamp tubes. I colored the wings using Quinacridone Magenta by Loft from Michael's. This is the professional level 3 as well. And before I started adding color, I had already moistened the butterfly with some water. I had the perfect stamp title to add to this page. It's made by Red Rubber Designs. I stamped it on tissue paper, and then I add some water around the edges of it so that I can tear the tissue paper away and it doesn't have straight edges. I used a black India ink stamp pad to stamp the title because it's waterproof. I knew I needed some of that pink on the background as well. I started out mixing the paint with water, but it wasn't splattering very well, so I switched to the same color in an acrylic ink by Liquitex. I started out with a small brush to get some small splatters on there, and then I ended up switching to a much larger brush. Before I started splattering on the acrylic ink, I had already splattered on just some plain water so that it would run once it hit the page. Now I was ready to add some white splatters. I did that with some Golden's High Flow Titanium White. And again, at first I started with a small brush to get some small splatters on there, and then I switched to a larger one. The bigger the brush, the bigger the splatters. I added white paint on the page so the title would pop off that busy background, but I really ended up not liking it, and I probably won't do that again. And now I'm adhering it with some fluid matte medium. I used my black India ink pad by Superior and a makeup brush to add a few of the words on tissue paper. This is the same Creativity medium stencil by Darkroom Doors that I used on the background earlier. I used the same technique as I used earlier to tear the tissue from around the edges of each word, then adhered them with fluid matte medium. I adhered the tubes down with some Aleene's tacky glue. Well, that wraps up today's project, art friends. If you found this video inspiring, I'd appreciate you liking it and leaving a brief comment. It really encourages me to keep making videos and helps me to grow my channel. See you next time.